Kia ora and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Catherine Parr, and today on Returning to Wholeness, we have Frank Arjava Petter joining us. He is a meditation teacher, Reiki Master, author, and internationally respected spiritual teacher with decades of experience guiding people through meditation, healing, and self-discovery. In this episode, we explored the different ways Arjava teaches meditation, what meditation truly is beyond simply sitting in silence, and what you can expect from our upcoming 3-day meditation retreat at Mana Retreat Centre in Manaia, here in the Coromandel, from the 9th of November to the 12th of November, 2026. This conversation offers beautiful insight into the experience, teachings, and the depth Arjava brings to the retreat space. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this beautiful corridor with Frank Arjava Petter. Kia ora, Arjava. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful day in Greece, clear blue skies, springtime, flowers everywhere. So it's a good day to talk to you who are listening. And we were thinking to talk about the purpose and goal of learning how to be in the present, to meditate, to be here and now, and to enjoy life to the full.
Yes. I mean, with our meditation retreat that we have coming up here in New Zealand, I know you've got a couple happening over in Greece. Ours in New Zealand is from the 9th to the 12th of November here in the Coromandel. And then you also have a retreat happening in Greece. Is it Arjava, the 7-day retreat?
Yes, in the end of June, I think it's from the 29th of June until the 5th or so of July.
Wow.
What we do is, I will explain in simple words, not too esoteric, we are planning on doing. So essentially, really what I would like is for everyone that joins a training with me, find a way to be comfortable with themselves, with who they are. You have children, you remember the first time you looked at your kids after they were born. And the look that a newborn child has is something indescribable, but they look at you from primordial space.
What does that mean, Arjava? What does that word mean? I don't think many people would have heard that before.
What it means is that the personality, the individuality, the self, the ego, all our characteristics of what we think, who and what we are, have not developed yet. So there's just space, infinite space. It's like the universe looking at you through those eyes of the newborn child. And our whole journey, from my perception, is that we start from that. Then we start from this infinity, from this immensity. And then while the personality is developing, the view gets narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower until it's like this. And then when we go on a spiritual adventure, trying to find ourselves, trying to figure out who we are, again, we start to zoom out more and more and more and more, looking for that infinity that we are originally. So it's kind of a journey from infinity. Infinity.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose. When you are born, you're just present. You're just there. I can never forget that when our daughter was born, how she looked at me, just looking at me. And there was no clouds obscuring her being. Those clouds we create afterwards. In the beginning, it's like I said, today is a beautiful day, just clear blue sky, infinite. Beautiful, clean, gorgeous, just pristine awareness, just there, like this, so beautiful. And in meditative practice, from my experience, this is what slowly you expand and zoom into again, from your keyhole vision to infinity. And in esoteric terms, we have not only one body, the physical body, we're not only the body, obviously, but we have 7 bodies. First is the physical body, the conscious part of ourselves, the thing that we are aware of. I'm aware of my hand, the feeling in my fingers, the tensions that might be in the body somewhere. And then the next body out is the unconscious, And by definition, unconscious is the thing that you're not aware of, that you don't. And we all know that in the unconscious part of ourselves, there are trauma, pain triggered by experience that we've had in this life. And if you believe in multiple existence, then also from a past, maybe long time ago. And they make us do things that we don't decide to do, that we don't plan on doing, but the past is pushing us into doing things. Okay, so you marry the same guy again and again, fall in love with the same girl again and again until you get it. Kind of the idea. But because it's unconscious, you can't really battle with it. You can't really understand it because by definition, the unconscious is unknown. So how are you going to deal with an unknown past or enemy? So one possibility is to go into past childhood regressions or something to see where your patterns come from, or some people do past life regressions to see why you do what you do. And in our meditative practice, we do a different thing, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, okay? Then beyond that unconscious part of ourselves, we have what we call the astral body. So it's the physical, then the etheric, the unconscious. Physical is conscious, etheric is unconscious, then comes the astral body. And that's the collective unconscious. So if we think of the unconscious as a source of trouble, and of course a source of great joy and bliss too, the collective is that multiplied by millions. Okay. Then beyond that, the next level out is what they call in India, in the East, they call the mind body, or the the wonderful world of thoughts. Not only yours, but everybody's. So thought by itself is not your thought, but it's collective. Yeah? And this is where meditative awareness is generated, in this part of your system. So if we consider ourselves to be like a 7-story building, the physical body is the foundation. First floor is the unconscious, the second floor is the collective unconscious, third floor up is the mind body, all the thoughts and emotions and all that, they belong together. And then the fifth body is called the consciousness body, and this is where the individual begins to melt and mingle with the cosmic. So there the individuality dissolves, which is the beginning of what we really want, is to melt, to merge the small mind with infinity. And then the next body out is they call the conscious, the bliss body. No, this is the one, bliss body. Then the next one is the cosmic body. And this is where, for example, for those of you who practice Reiki, the home of Reiki, the energy of the universe pulsating in everything that is, including us. So it's pulsating in us, in the plants, in the animals, in everybody else, in the sea, in the mountains. It's just going. And the next on top of that, they call the nirvanic body. That's really a mystery, and I don't think anything can be said about that. What I learned when I lived in India was that each body has its tensions. Each of these 7 has its tensions. And as long as there are tensions in one of those layers of our personality, of ourself, because they're not outside of us, it's one package. As long as there are tensions in any one of them, and you don't feel comfortable in any one of them, you can't enter the next door. So when, for example, somebody says, now I want to learn how to meditate, and meditative awareness is generated on the 3rd floor in the 4th body. So foundation, 1st floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor. It doesn't work because the foundation hasn't been laid. So in the way that we do and we teach meditation, we first start with the physical body and make sure that the participants learn tools how to feel comfortable in their own physical body. Feel comfortable with the way the body is, the way they look, of course, but mostly learning to feel the body from the inside. And this is how I start with my meditation retreats. I take the participants through their body. I talk them through it. I say, okay, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and now let's say if you're right-handed, feel your right hand. If you're left-handed, maybe feel your left hand. The one that you feel more connection to, more natural connection to. So feel one of your hands, doesn't matter, from the inside. So you feel the individual fingers, you feel your thumb, your index finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, your pinky. Feel them from the inside. Maybe you feel the energy passing through it. Maybe you feel them warm. Maybe you feel tension. And when you feel tension, we'll think about how we can relax that tension. A good way to relax tension in the physical body is something called progressive muscle relaxation. If you have tension in your hands, you tighten all the muscles in your hands for like 3-4 seconds, as much as you can, like, and then let go, relax. Then we go with our attention further up the arm, feel the forearm, you feel all the muscles in your body, feel the bones, or imagine that you feel them. Then bring the awareness up to the arm, feel the whole arm, and then maybe consider for a moment what a blessing it is to have this physical body, this arm, and think about all the beauty and all the incredible experience you have had having this body. So beautiful. You can touch things, you can move things, you can caress people, you can eat, you can do all these things we never think of. Yeah, we think, oh, it's granted. Yeah? I have a body. It's a tool, it's a mechanical thing, but really it's magic that we have this physical form blessing. Then you bring your attention to the other side and do the same. You feel your hand, you feel your arm, and then maybe take a moment to feel both of your arms and just consider the blessings that have been showered upon you by having this body. Then you go down, do the same with the right leg, the left leg. Again, take a moment to consider how nice it is to be able to walk, how nice it is to be able to do the dishes, to run or to swim or to, don't take it for granted. It cannot be taken for granted. There are people who are paralyzed, who cannot move parts of their body. And for us, for most of us, everything is working. How beautiful. Blessing it is to be able to walk, to move, to swim, to interact with life, because this body helps us interact with nature, which is what we are. And then I take them step by step through all their inner organs, feeling them from the inside. And whenever we get to a new body part, we see if there is tension inside. So for sure in your shoulders, every one of us will have some kind of tension. And then you ask yourself, okay, does this tension have a voice? Maybe it's your mom or your grandma, or maybe a teacher in high school, or something that you have been told, or something that you felt. And if it does have a voice, ask it if it wants to tell you something, if it has something to say. So in my case, for example, I always have tension and pain in my neck because I spent a lot of time on the computer writing and sitting there like this good posture. And then when I feel the tension in my neck, I ask my body, okay, now, do you have a voice? Is there anything you want to tell me? And then maybe the body says, don't sit for 2, 3, 4 hours at the computer just like that, like this, but every hour or so, move your shoulders or get up or just look at something else in the distance or go out for a walk or something like that. And we ask the body for guidance, not the pain. And we do that not in a psychological way, like a psychologist who said, well, there's a problem, let's look at where that problem comes from, but as a friend and casually, like someone asking for the way. Which way is to Auckland? The body may answer this way. this way. And it's a little bit uphill. You have to be careful, watch your steps, like that. And if no answer is forthcoming, you go on, you say, okay, thank you. And then once the tension has been identified, you relax it by tightening it all up and then letting it go. So this is how we start. Of course, in the end, we go to and feel your ears from the inside, your nose, your eyes, your mouth, your jaw. In the jaw, we all have tension. Then feel your brain, feel the different brain halves, left and right. And I do that with the participants because it's a tedious process. And if you did it by yourself, maybe in the evening in bed, halfway through, you'll fall asleep. That's also a good way to fall asleep, to check in how you are, how the body is feeling. Okay? So
Yeah.
get in touch with your body, feel comfortable with your body. And then when you feel comfortable with your body, then we can enter the next level out, the unconscious. Unconscious part of ourselves, as I said earlier, is the parts that we are not aware of, that we don't know. And this is the tension. There are unknown things in there that are propelling us forward, making us do things that maybe we don't want to do. And there's a lot of pain. If you look back in your life, there are so many instances where you felt hurt, where maybe you didn't know how to deal with something didn't sit right. So many situations. I can think of so many things in my past where I felt I wasn't myself. I hurt people unconsciously, not knowingly, or maybe even consciously I hurt people. If I look back, I can find many of those. And we could now go into therapy, but in this meditative process, we don't do this. But what we do instead is we fill our etheric body, which is like a hue around us, like the aura that you see in the religious drawing or something, with unconditional love. And that unconditional love will wash over all this unconscious pain and trauma and cleanse it by itself. You don't have to identify the things. You don't have to dig in the pain, but you allow that to cleanse your psychological trauma. That's real magic. And the way I usually start that is, I say, the easiest is to maybe feel unconditional love in your heart. And many of us know this feeling. I hope all of us know this feeling of unconditional love. You may have that for your partner, for your child, for your parents, for your dog, for your parakeet, your pet, your almond tree in the garden, maybe an object, doesn't matter really. Huh? So my understanding of all these beautiful inner values is that we get triggered to feel something like inner peace or compassion or love or kindness. We need triggers to feel that. But really what it means is if I can be triggered, it must be inside. So we know. You cannot desire something that you don't know. It's not possible. So if you think, oh man, I want peace, I'm tense, turmoil, I want peace. How would you possibly know what peace is? You know what it is because you have felt it at some point. So either you go back in your mind to that peak moment where you felt it, or you go via someone that ignites that feeling in you. Or maybe if you're introspective, maybe you know where in your body you feel that, and then maybe you can just touch that part of the body and boom. So for example, if somebody says, can you feel unconditional love in your body? For me, it works just with the word. I know what it is. When I hear the word or I say the word, boom, I feel expanding and it goes boom. But I can also do it by putting my hand on my heart because that triggers the same feeling because this is where it lives. And stress maybe lives somewhere else, maybe lives in your shoulders, maybe in your stomach, maybe in your brain. And you can trigger that with touch and also heal that with touch. Or I think of somebody, let's say, if I want to connect to unconditional love, I think of my daughter. Boom, Think of my son, or I think of my wife, or our cat, or our olive plantation. Boom, there it is. Then you imagine that unconditional love filling your whole body, washing over it, permeating all the cells of your body. It takes some practice to do this. And then when you feel your whole body is tingling with this beautiful, delicious love, then imagine that it seeps out through your pores and you create like an aura of love. So beautiful. I do this together with the people in the meditation retreats. Of course, that's a safe place. Relatively easy to do when you have your eyes closed. You're in a safe place. You trust the people that you are with. And once you know how to do this, then you start practicing it either when you're alone or if you are in a good relationship with somebody, or when things are good in the family, you do it at home where it's safe and practice. And with time, you start doing that when you go out. When you go to the supermarket, just walk around with this aura of an atmosphere and attitude of love in you, unconditional love. And you start to look at people like that. It's a journey. It takes some practice. In the beginning, maybe you're afraid, and there might be situations where this is really not the right medicine.
Might get a bit dangerous. Right.
For different reasons. One, let's say you're in a corporate business meeting and suddenly you feel this love for everybody and you want to hug everybody and kiss everybody and feel we're all one, and maybe that's not the right time for this. Or when you're sitting on the subway and you have that, and you look at somebody and you think, oh, how beautiful they are. They would understand. You think, well, what does she want from me? But learn how to do this, let's say, at the proper time. And you also learn how to back off. When you realize that it's being misunderstood or misjudged, you take it back in, not to make other people feel uncomfortable with your intensity. So this is the second body, the unconscious. We allow that unconditional love that we all know to cleanse our unconscious pains without having to identify and do therapy. Look, it's because my mom said this to me when I was 3. No, this is only for you, only you. You cleanse your own system, nothing to do with others. And whoever triggered that in the past, in this case, doesn't matter. It's your life, it's your responsibility, it's your house. When we go back to the 7-story house, including the foundation, so 6 floors and the basement. This is your house, and you are responsible for it, for making it beautiful, and for cleaning it. I think that's your job, nobody else. And if somebody else has made a mess in there, it's still your job to clean it.
You need to talk to my daughter. You need to talk to my 15-year-old about that.
Okay, that's another story. Huh? That's another story.
No,
This is just for you. Just for you. Your life. The other, we know what it's like to be a parent. And to be a parent, one of the, maybe the most beautiful aspects of that for me is that it really softens your, grinds away at your ego, your separate self, because you constantly have to put yourself back.
Yeah.
And as a mother, okay, I cannot imagine what it's like to be mom, but I see it with my wife. That's really challenging because you have to go in the backseat all the time. At the same time, remembering that you also have to take care of yourself, that you have to take time for yourself, and you have to clean your inner house and make it nice. And they are responsible for their inner house. And maybe one day when they grow up, maybe they start doing that. But at the moment, they're not doing it. They'll just go like, well, mom will do it. I just leave the dishes in the sink. Mom will do it. Well, you know the story. But let's go back to the next
Yes, please.
level out. The next level out is the collective unconscious. And as we said, the collective unconscious is a big mess. All the pain of humanity, all the collective pain that we have is there. But also, of course, collective beauty is there. All the good things are also there. If you wanted to solve that, it's not possible by definition. You clean all of it, cannot. So what I learned from my teacher from Osho at the time was that he said that the tension in the third body is that we have learned from childhood not to think that we shouldn't have desires. You should be selfless. And this, because it's very much so in Christian culture, but also in, let's say, Hindu culture, it's always like, no, you should be selfless. You should be pure. You should be clean. You should be beyond. You should be all these things that we are not. We have desires. Maybe the desire is financial, maybe it's sexual, maybe it's for power, maybe it's for being something different than you are, maybe it's a car, maybe so many things. So he said the way to relax that part of yourself is by allowing yourself to have desires. It's all right. Yeah. So I like all things beautiful. And that includes, let's say, cars. So a beautiful car like a Porsche or something that I go, outside the shape so beautiful, inside everything perfect, fast. Oh, I wish I had one like those. Feel if I had that, and I imagine myself sitting. No damage done. It's okay. Allow yourself to have desires and know then that you don't have to go for it. But you allow yourself. And sometimes, and sometimes you go for it because desire is, on one hand, it's destructive because it takes your attention from what you have and where you are, projects your mind into la la land, somewhere where you are not in the future and you miss the moment. On the other hand, desire can be the driving force to make a change in your life.
To create impact.
To create impact, to change your life, to do what you really want to do, to get out of the box. Desire, it's good. So allow yourself to have desires and then act in an enlightened way when dealing with the ones that you want to work on. So all this idea of manifesting things, and it's not really helpful because you keep projecting away from where you are. So it's much better to be here. And then when you find there's something that you really, it has something that might fulfill a need inside you that you need to be happy, then go for it. No damage done. Okay, but relax with your desires. When you see somebody you desire or something you desire, you just go, okay, good. I allow that. The same way, think of it like this. Let's say your husband has a deep desire to do something. You probably give him the space to go and have that. Why don't you do it for yourself? You're the same. So give the same space that you give to others in this way, give to yourself. And we notice that everything that you are in conflict with binds you. So if I have a problem with A, I'm tied to A and I can't get out. But if I say, okay, A is okay, then poof, I can go with A or I can go beyond A. This is the trick, really. The trick is to say yes to yourself with your neurotic, maybe in quotation marks, neurotic desires. Also, when you notice it, you go, okay, all right, no problem. You allow it. And then you have the choice whether you go for it or not. So this relaxes the third level out. And the next one is the place where we generate meditative awareness, the fourth body. And this is why a lot of meditation classes and methods don't really work, because you cannot start here. You have to start with the body. Like when we go back to the image of building a house, you cannot start building it on the fourth floor. What will it sit on? On air. And you have to start building the foundation, then thing. So first, feel comfortable in your body, then create this unconditional love in and around you, then relax the desires. Then you can generate meditative awareness. And what I mean with that is that when you're sitting in meditation doesn't mean that, okay, now I'm going to sit and I will not think. This is what many people believe, that meditation means I sit down, I don't think. Not possible. Because the thoughts are all around us, not only our own, but other people's thoughts are around us. And the trick to deal with the inner dialogue is not to fight with it, because everything you fight with binds you, but to watch, to learn, watch your thought process as if there is a screen, you're a huge screen, and on this screen, different images are projected, thoughts that come and go, and they go on their own, they come and go on their own, but they stay only with your active participation. So if I don't energize a thought with my attention, it goes, because it needs me to think about it. I give you an example. I meditate now. I close my eyes and I remember the cup of coffee I had half an hour ago, and I think that was so good. Boy, it was so nice. What a nice taste. I love my coffee in the mornings, one of the highlights of my day. How nice. So I have left the present and I'm back in the past. When I catch myself thinking of the coffee, I go like, wait, no, we are here. We are sitting quietly. Let's leave the coffee that's gone, finished, not present. Be present. Keep breathing. And then I hear across the street somebody's building a house. I hear the drill. I go, oh man, yeah, I have to hang some paintings in my house. I have to drill some holes, put wall plugs. And then I think how I'm going to do it and which painting I will hang where. Wow, wait a minute. No, I'm supposed to meditate and be quiet. So instead of projecting forward, I bring the attention back to the present. The way to do this, and this is really hard work, because you don't want to do this. You want to dream. You don't in the present. You want to go forward or backwards in your life. The habit, it's like a bad habit. So instead of energizing your thoughts and going with them to the past or to the future, trying to relive something nice in the past, trying to change something that happened in the past, which is impossible, or by projecting into something that you would like to have, to achieve, to get, to do, which is also not here. So instead of doing that, you learn to watch the thoughts come, zzzt, then acknowledge them. There's the thought, the coffee was so nice today. And then I say, not now. And it stops. Because I don't energize it. I don't give it life. And then again, I close my eyes and the next thought comes up and I hear the drilling and I think, oh, I have to paint it, to hang the paintings and drill the holes into the wall, put the wall plugs and I go, okay, not now. We take care of that later. It stops. So the movie starts, first act, and when you become aware of it, poof, it stops. Blank screen. And then the next image comes, you become aware of it, it stops. So it's like going on a fast, a mental fast, where you say, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to do it. So to release the tension in the mind body, this wonderful world of the thoughts, this incredible world of thoughts, which has its beauty, of course, very important as a writer. I'm in it all the time. But when I meditate, I learned not to give any one thought attention, more attention than any of the others. All are treated the same way. All are being watched. This is the process. And then hopefully at some point, the gaps in between the thoughts will get bigger. It's like that. There's some story, I don't know if it comes from the Native American people or something, where a boy asked the grandfather, well, what do I do with my negative emotions, with my anger, with my, I don't know how to deal with it. And he said, the grandfather says, look, let's say you have 3 dogs and you feed 2 of them. They become stronger and bigger, which is what we do with participating in the thinking process. And the one dog, you don't give him food, what's going to happen? It dies. It withers away. So the same with the thought process. When we don't interact, we don't energize the thought with our attention and our projection. And this is not something that you can learn in a 3-day retreat, obviously. I've been doing this for about 50 years every day. And I'm still working on it. It's a big project and process, but it really helps because it breaks the identification that we have with thoughts. We think that that thought is me, but then you realize the thought is not me, but there's something beyond that, which is infinite screen that the images are projected upon. And then maybe at some point you realize that you are that screen, that infinite wisdom and infinite space, and not the things that are projected, that are painted on. Beautiful process, really beautiful, but it doesn't have an end or a goal. Okay.
So
It goes on and on and on and on. And this is what you learn when you are sitting. You become aware of all the things that are happening and know that they are not you, but sometimes you realize that there is something immense. You collide with something immense, which is purpose of sitting.
do you find in Java it's easier for you to kind of dive deeper into your meditation when you're more so in nature than if you are, say, in built up city or something along those lines, like to do your practice?
This is the thing. This kind of, say, it's much easier in the beginning of your meditative practice to be in a controlled, somewhat controlled environment. And with controlled environment, I mean a space that encourages this kind of thing, which means quiet, beautiful, pleasant smell or atmosphere, nothing that disturbs you. Some people use incense to anchor that every time you sit, you have a certain smell, or every time you sit, you hear a certain piece of music, and you trigger yourself like that. Living in a big city with lots of traffic nearby, for sure, in the beginning is difficult, makes it difficult. That's why we have people going into monasteries, people doing retreats like we will do in nature, where there is just, I wanted to say pleasance, but there is no word like that. I think pleasantness, bliss, natural sound, good atmosphere, good air, and all of that. But with time, then you learn how to do it in the subway to be in that meditative space. But it's not, I think it's not helpful to start like that.
What about diet? You know, a lot of people who meditate, they tend to go towards a lighter diet as well, I've noticed. Does it matter or?
You have to really feel into your body. I know that when I'm on a vegetarian diet, I feel lighter. I feel better. But when that is a must and
It's a limitation.
a limitation that is imposed upon you by some philosophy, an Indian person would say, you must be vegetarian, otherwise you're not spiritual. I don't believe that.
But then you can also understand why they say that.
From my experience, but just as a rule, no thank you, don't need it. And if you crave to eat meat, you eat meat and enjoy it.
Yes.
And don't stop doing it because you shouldn't, and because it's wrong. That's a good attitude to have. The same goes for if you want to have a smoke or you want to have a drink or something. That's all right. It's fine. It's not a problem. The problem is that when you do something and you feel guilty about doing it, then it becomes toxic.
Yes, I agree.
But as you said, there is, generally speaking, I notice that in myself, for myself with my body, and I'm not telling anybody else to do what I do, that when I eat a vegetarian diet, I feel more light and I feel better. But that's me.
Yeah. My body changes. So sometimes I just want lighter food. And then sometimes I really do want, dare I say it, a heavy steak.
My wife is the same. She needs it.
Yeah.
And she starts to feel uneasy, like physically, she starts to...
Iron. We need the iron. We're women.
So go for it and enjoy it. But I think this is the most important thing of all. Eat with pleasure and with appreciation, and you're good. Don't make any kind of theory that's been fed to you by other people. If it doesn't fit with you, if it doesn't click with you, if it doesn't suit you, that's not good.
No.
We must come out of the box.
So we're at the third body?
The fourth body, but on the third floor. Then the next one is the consciousness body, and people in different cultures, they have different names for these things, but basically all the same, just different description of the same thing. This would correspond to the chakras. Same. So in the fifth body, the individual starts to melt with the collective. Very beautiful thing. This is what we crave, I think, all of us. We crave for melting. Why you have a romantic relationship? Because you want to melt, you want to dissolve the boundaries. We long for that. And here, because this is part of our nature, here we have that melting potential, but we can only get there once we're taking care of the first four. So the fifth one, the tension in the fifth one is knowledge. The idea that I know, that's a good one. So who was it? Socrates, I think. He says, I know that I know nothing. This dissolves the tensions in the fifth body. And I know you live in a beautiful natural place and probably have incredible night skies where we do. One thing that helps me with this issue, the issue of thinking that I know everything, I know how it works, I know how one should be, I know what is right, I know what is wrong, all these ideas that are ghosts in my brain that try to tell me that I'm the God's gift to humanity. Well, what helps me is I go to the dojo, our training center at night. We sleep there sometimes. We have a small studio there. Go out, sit in between the olive trees, look up into the night sky. The summer in Greece is clear blue skies, and at night, super clear, Milky Way and everything. When you look up and you consider that you think that you know something, you know you don't. Very simple. You see the absolute insignificance of this small cell that is you. When you look at the Milky Way, you cannot think that I know everything and I have figured out all of life and what is good and what is right. You don't know nothing. It's nice, very humbling. And that's where the individual starts to melt. There's a very beautiful meditation from Tibetan Buddhism that I often practice when we get to this point with people, which is merging the mind, your mind, heart, mind, your thoughts, your emotions, what you think of yourself, me, Arjava, merging the mind with space. When you put some sugar in a warm or hot glass of water and let dissolve it, merge it, let it become one. And then the next one is called the cosmic body. The cosmic body, the tension is between yourself as a separate identity and the whole. So the idea that we are separate individual selves, separate from everything, is kind of ridiculous. We all have that. And we think that this shape, this thing here, this is me, the body is me, the mind is me, I am the self, I have my opinions, I have my good parts, my bad parts, me. And you over there. This is the tension where I am attached to the idea of the separate self, the I. In this stage, there are some very beautiful techniques to learn to dissolve that notion of I would tell you one, this is something I practice these days. As I said, we live in a beautiful place on a Greek island, and originally the Greek islands were mountains. Then with time turned into islands, and all the valleys were filled up with water. So there's a lot of places when you drive through the island mountains and you see big valleys, lots of space. When I'm driving and also when I'm sitting quietly, I practice one technique is from ancient Hindu text. The instructions are like this: toss the attachment to the body, the physical body, thinking of yourself as a body. Toss attachment for the body aside and realize that I am everywhere. And one who is everywhere is joyous. And you can do this beautifully. Sit by the sea, sit on the beach, look at the sea, or when you're going out with the boat, or when you're diving. Let go of the idea of the separate body, the separate small self. Know that you are everywhere. You being that pristine awareness, that consciousness is everywhere, and feel yourself everywhere. When you do, you get blissed out. You start to feel, oh, what a benediction of beauty. So this would be the sixth body. And the seventh body, this is called the nirvanic body. Really, this is about spiritual enlightenment. I have no idea about that. I don't know. I'm not there. It sometimes, when you're meditating, that kind of space visits you for a while. And then there's just nothing. It's not pleasant either. So until this point, there's some kind of, like we said, one who's everywhere is joyous. There's some joy in it. That most outer layer, there is just nothing.
In between.
Just nothing. Poof, nothing there. But I don't know how to get into this or at will. Maybe once in a while happens by itself. So this is the house that the meditation retreats will visit. Like you go, you start in the basement, then go to the first floor, go to the second floor, go to the third floor, go to the fourth floor, to experience yourself fully with all that is you. And my hope, my intention is that somebody who has passed through something like that will have some kind of self-realization, some inkling of the infinite space that they are, and that they take that home with them and then be able to get in touch with that more and more and move the attention away from the physical, from the emotional, from the mental, from the psychological, from all our psycho-emotional self, and just dive into the spaciousness that we are. When you're diving, that's it. Yes.
Do you ever have, people that have strong attachments to their ego self, really struggling in these retreats? Because I know there's a lot of people that their job is their identity, or their looks are their identity, or, how do you get them through that? Is it because not long after you get to the bliss bit, do you just keep going? What do you do?
We're all like that. We're all like that. We're all attached to the idea of the self. I am too. It's practice. The way to soften that is by starting with the physical body. That's it.
Yeah.
It's really a kind of, if I say scientific, it's not really scientific, not Western science, it's meditative science. You start with the body, you feel comfortable there, and then you build on that. And when you feel comfortable with the body, then you can access the world of the unconscious. Then when you make this aura of unconditional love around you, then can expand, and that's how it works. Of course, we are all identified. This is the sickness with who we think we are.
But everybody gets different versions of us anyway.
The point is really that I hope that somebody who joins a meditation retreat, not necessarily with me, anywhere, with any other teacher, any good quality meditation retreat, that they have an inkling of what is beyond the small self. Once you have had that, it stays with you, and then you can always get back to that. That's the idea. Once you have like an inkling, it's not that once you know who you are, or you're enlightened, or you're suddenly becomes milk and honey. It doesn't. But once you've had an experience of something immense, it stays with you. And then things move on their own. They continue on their own. There's no way back from that.
So we can't do that in 3 days, but your 7-day retreat might you might get there. What do you think? With your retreat? No, it's an ongoing practice.
Again, you're thinking of some kind of product or so. You might get an inkling of this. I don't know, I'm struggling with the word, the infinity of the spaciousness of consciousness. You might get that after 5 minutes, sitting or relaxing. It's not that this is something on the top, you know.
You get to that, then you get a tick, and then you get to move on to the
So something like that.
good formula.
These are, let's say, key moments. When I talk about key moments or key experiences, this is not something that you need to meditate to
Necessarily.
get to necessarily, but probably all of us who are listening to this, you have had experiences like that a Japanese person would, somebody who's into, let's say, Zen Buddhism or so, would say, this is a satori. It's a glimpse of.
Tori.
And we all have had that. We're not aware. We don't know. We don't know what it is. So kind of, you are too young, but maybe sometimes you get up, you go to the kitchen to get something and you forgot.
I wish I was too young for that, Arjava, but
You forgot what it is. So instead of struggling with that, shit, I forgot, then what was it? And to just stay in that nothing. That nothing is, it's like a meditative experience.
it's a
So
great way to frame it.
next time it happens, when you go to the fridge to get something or to the kitchen to get something, and suddenly the brain blanks out, stay in that blank for however long, 2-3 seconds. It's incredible. That's a meditative experience. So please don't think of doing meditation to get something or to reach something, to get up there. People in New Age circles, they often say, I want to go to the light. I want to.
Let's go to the light. You sure you want to go to the light?
So what is so bad here? What is so bad here that you want to escape and go to the land of milk and honey? You'll be so bored.
Yeah. Why are you incarnated here to begin with?
Yeah, here. It's nice here. It's beautiful here. It's joyous here. So don't think of reaching something, but it's like the Japanese, really like the Japanese, not definition, but kind of concept of enlightenment. In India, they have this idea that, okay, you go up, seventh body or seventh chakra, the crown chakra opens and oof, and you become this superwoman, or everything is perfect and you're just floating in this out there and you're really spaced out and you're like. So I had my share of that. When I went to Japan, they have a different, more down to earth, more grounded kind of idea. And what they believe is that maybe at some point you have some kind of self-realization. Don't put a label on it. And then from then on, you just keep deepening that experience that you have of yourself. So it's not like a product or end of story and like finished. It's a continuous unfolding. Say if you were to look at a video of in slow motion of a flower growing. First you see the two leaves, then you see the bud forming, then it slowly it unfolds more. So look at it as an unfolding process that ends when you die. Nice, beautiful, so nice. And don't think of I must reach something. That's again very materialistic. That I must get somewhere and then it's over. No, it's not like that. It just keeps unfolding and you deepen your experience of who you are, that you are, of yourself, of your no self, of the space. You keep deepening that experience more and more. And then when you have deepened it enough for this life, then goodbye. It takes the pressure off.
And it's such an individual journey, isn't it, Java? I guess that's the other thing. So when we kind of say, this is the framework, but actually how you get there, when you get there, it's all in that individual's own time, right?
Yes, and there's no rush. There's no rush. You can't avoid your destiny. You can run as fast as you can. You can't run away.
Well, that's it. Hey, that's it. We all know what the end of the destination is.
Yes, nice. Yeah, so keep unfolding, really. It's all about us learning to be comfortable with ourselves, and there is no end to it. I can't say that I will tell you a story. I had my German publisher. They had a friend who was one of the legal advisors of a number of German presidents in the past. This huge guy, really huge, like 6.5 feet big, big like this with the head like this and very high blood pressure. And I was introduced to him at a book fair once, and I had heard that he had been practicing Zen Buddhism for 40 years very intensively, besides his super professional career. He saw me, I was 37, 8 at the time. He was in his late 60s. He looks at me like this and says, I heard about you from our common friend, the publisher, and all your endeavors and your journey and all that. And have you ever reached anything in all these years? And I'm looking at him. I said, "Oh, thank God, no." Hits me on the shoulder. Says, good boy, keep going like that. I'll never forget that. That was a very reassuring moment that there is no end to learning and to deepening your human experience. This is what we're here for. We just keep unfolding. So guys, unfold beautifully. Take your time.
And come to one of Ajava's retreats. Especially the one in, if you're in New Zealand, the one in Mana Retreat in the Coromandel here, and experience the magic.
Really looking forward to it. So we're all sitting in the same boat. We're all the same. There's no difference. Nobody's better. Nobody's more evolved. I remember I had an auntie. She was a student of Rudolf Steiner, the founder of the Waldorf schools. When we told her some issues that we had problems or something, and she always said, in the light of eternity.
Yeah.
And we were little, my brother and I. We were maybe less than 10 years old at the time.
I love that.
It stayed with me.
I'm going to use that on my kids. That's great.
So I think things have been explained. The process in November at the Mana retreat, we're going to do the first 3 days of this. It's going to be really nice. It's lovely to do this together with a group of people. Easier than doing it by yourself. But then once you have done it with a group of people, you can then start to do it by yourself. And the kind of relaxation technique that I teach on the first day, it's something in German is called autogenic training. It's something I've been doing since I'm 15, going into the body and feeling it. Even just that, to learn that, will change your life and make you much more comfortable with who you are and comfortable with your body. So looking forward to that.
Yes, as am I. Is there anything you wanted to talk into about where the Ajava Institute is, how that's going, how your plans are unfolding?
I'm still working on my teaching materials. It took about a year to write them. So it's been a lot of work. When somebody sees the manual, they were going like, oh, yeah, nice manual. You cannot imagine how much time and work and love went into this. I'll show you. I just got one of them back, which is now fully edited. It looks like this, and
like that.
110 pages or something. It was really intense, but I'm not saying it to say, oh, look at how much work I did. What I am saying is that it took a lot of soul searching for me, for my part, to see what is really important and what do I want to pass on to others. And that for me was a beautiful process. The writing, but for me, and of course I don't know where this is going to go, but this is the beginning. I found some clarity in what I really deeply from my heart I want to do in this process. And where that leads us is probably a continued unfolding. And I hope there is no end result for it, but I hope that it will still unfold more and reveal that the mysteries will, and I'm sure that will reveal themselves more and more and more. And when it's enough, see you next time. Yeah, so I don't really plan or anything. This is more like I'm writing a song. The work with the Reiki Institute. I'm writing a song and I'm offering that song. I'm singing that song, and then we see how it goes. More like a bird. I don't know if they have any purpose.
Beautiful. On another note, you've been doing your family constellations work as well. We will talk about that in the next podcast, I hope, because I think that's something we really want to introduce to Aotearoa New Zealand as well at some point too, don't we? We're going to do a bit of a retreat here next year, hopefully.
Very beautiful, and I think it fits very much with especially with the indigenous cultures, because a lot of it is about respect to your elders, your ancestry, and how one of the things we learned is how to tap into that, understand that we are at the pinnacle of millions of years of wisdom behind us. If you do that, it's an incredible strength behind you, not oppression. Like think in Western psychology that I'm like this because this happened and that happened and I've been screwed by my teachers, my parents. No, we don't go there at all, but we look at where the strength and where the love is that carries you. And that is so beautiful. I can't wait. Next time, let's talk about that.
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. It's been a pleasure, as always. Bye.